calling the Afterlife Hotline, your one-stop shop for all things spooky, weird, and possibly cursed. Press 1 for ghost stories that will ruin your sleep schedule. Press 2 for paranormal mysteries we definitely won't solve. Press 3 to speak to a... demon. Just kidding, unless... If you're still here, congrats. You've officially ignored all the red flags. And now you're stuck with us. Hope you like bad jokes and spooky stuff. This is the Afterlife Hotline. Boo!
Welcome to the Afterlife Hotline, where the stories are fake, but the hauntings are real messy. Your hosts Ashley and Denisha are here, and ChatGPT is out for blood. This is episode
13.
13. Oh, we should have done something for 13, because it's an unlucky or lucky number.
It's lucky. We'll say it's lucky.
I think it's lucky.
Yeah, so this episode is just going to be another ChatGPT stories. We got a little bonus few things at the very end of it, but yeah, just a easy episode today.
I think we need it after last night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So this first one, I had to give it a location because I'm a sucker for doing that. The title is called Static on the Line, a Chernobyl Tale.
Ooh.
And it's multiple parts.
Okay.
So, part 1, the call that started it all. Stay on the line. Things are about to get radioactive, Denisha quipped as she adjusted her mic, recording the latest Afterlife Hotline episode. Ashley snorted. You've been waiting to say that all day, haven't you? Yes, Denisha grinned, and it was worth it. This episode was different. They weren't just talking about a haunted place. They were going there. They were going to Chernobyl.
Oh, shit.
They had booked a trip on a dare. Okay, more like Ashley drunkenly dared them both during a full moon, but as soon as the podcast listeners got wind of it, they demanded a special episode. Please demand it. I want to go.
I was about to say, we would do that even without a dare.
Yeah, I have already been looking. I have for years. And Ashley and Denisha, they never turned down a good ghost story or an excuse to pack too much black clothing.
Yeah.
Part 2. Welcome to the exclusion zone. I also long to hear a Ukrainian person saying welcome to the exclusion zone because they have the accent, and there's one video on YouTube I watch where she says it, and it's chef's kiss. After a long flight and an even longer bus ride, the best friends stepped off into the eerie silence of Piprit. Nature had reclaimed the town, vines crawling up concrete, skeletons, rusting Ferris wheels swaying in the breeze. There was no birdsong, just wind and the distant crunch of their boots on broken glass. Ashley turned to Denisha. You hear that? What? The sound of my soul leaving my body? Yeah?
Yep.
No, static. They both froze. Denisha reached into her backpack and pulled out an antique rotary phone prop they used for show promotions. It wasn't plugged in. It didn't even work, but it buzzed with a faint, static hiss.
Interesting.
Ashley stared at it. I swear if that thing rings, bring.
Oh, jeez.
Part 3. Line from the past.
Oh, gosh.
They stood frozen in the middle of the amusement park. No signal, no electricity, yet the phone rang again. Don't answer it, Ashley hissed. But Denisha answered. Hello? Nothing. Then a whisper. Operator, connect me. The light is failing.
Ooh.
The line went dead.
Ooh.
Ashley stared at her. You answered a haunted rotary phone in Chernobyl. I panicked. You always do. But the damage was done. From that moment on, things got weirder. A child's laughter echoed from a school.
Ugh.
Shadows moved in doorways that no one entered. Their audio gear picked up voices speaking in a language neither of them understood. Until they played it backwards.
Oh, jeez.
Then it sounded like, still here, still glowing. Part 4. The reactor and the reveal. Late that night, they snuck closer to reactor number 4. No. No. No.
Isn't that where the elephant's foot is at?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I don't want to die. So
You can actually get so reactor.
haven't they like buried or removed some of it or something?
So they are dismantling it currently. The big round like cylinder building you see is a sarcophagus that encases reactor 4.
Oh.
So you can get technically really close to it, but you're still protected-ish.
Gotcha.
And it'll actually like a lot of the tour guides will show you like the radiation because they all have Geiger counters is really low on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
but you're next to the reactor.
Yeah. There was a video I saw on TikTok recently. I don't know if you sent it to me or if I think I just came across it. But it was a guy standing in front of a building, and he stood there for just a second showing you what radiation will do, and then he moves, and it's like a whole cast on the side of the building because of the radiation. That's interesting, because isn't there places in Chernobyl where there's like people's like silhouettes of them like burnt into the side of the buildings?
I think you're thinking of Pompeii.
My bad. But yeah, that one, the other one was definitely radiation. I don't know where it was at, but it will leave a cast on the side of the building.
And I could be wrong. I've just never seen them show it.
Was that from a volcano?
Yeah, that was the ash.
Oh, so they got, completely different thing. My bad.
All good.
Ignore me.
They snuck closer to Reactor 4, half expecting security to stop them, but no one came. The air was thick, and their Geiger counter was losing its mind. Ashley held up the phone. Say something cool. Denisha took a breath. If you've got unfinished business, press 9. The phone buzzed. Not rang, buzzed, as if someone was on the line, inside the sarcophagus that buried the reactor. Then, connection established. Countdown initiated. They screamed and ran fast. Part 5. Glowing reviews and goodbye. Back home, they re-listened to the recordings. One clip stood out, a soft whispering through the static. Thank you for remembering us.
Oh.
They posted the episode and it blew up. Listeners claimed they could hear their own names whispered in the background. Others said the audio made their lights flicker. And that phone, it hasn't rung since. But sometimes, when the podcast mics are hot and the topics turn haunted, Denisha swears she hears a faint static. Ashley just looks at her and murmurs, "Next time, we're going to Disney."
Yes. Although that would be a pretty cool, like, interaction and situation at Chernobyl.
I would love, first of all, I want to go to Chernobyl anyway, podcast aside. That is like my deepest like goal.
She is obsessed with Chernobyl, has always been obsessed with Chernobyl.
So I would love to go. Right now, unfortunately, it's a little bit more difficult. But
yeah, one day it'll happen.
I want to eat lunch with the babushkas.
The babushkas. They're so cute. How many are left, do you know? There isn't very many left.
I want to say it's like 8 to 11.
Really? That many are left?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought, for some reason, I was thinking it was like a lot less than that. So, this next one is The Ghost Who Wouldn't Leave a Review. It was a dark and stormy Tuesday, the kind of night that made you question every life choice, especially renting a 150-year-old Victorian house for cheap in the middle of nowhere. Jenna, a budget-conscious millennial with a love for vintage aesthetics and ignoring red flags, had just moved in. The place was gorgeous, creaky floors, antique mirrors, and at least 6 secret doors that opened on their own. Classic Zillow find. On her second night, while eating instant noodles in bed and watching a ghost hunting show, ironically, her bedroom lamp flickered. "Okay, ghost," Jenna said with a laugh. "If you're here, knock once for yes and twice for no." Knock. She froze. "Did you just knock?" She blinked. "Wait, was that yes or no?" Knock, knock. Okay, I walked right into that. Over the next few nights, Jenna discovered her house guest was a less demonic entity and more passive-aggressive roommate. The ghost, whose name was apparently Edward, revealed via alphabet cereal and lots of patience, had some unfinished business. "I was a hotel critic in life," a voice scribbled on her fogged-up bathroom mirror. "Died here in 1897. Gave the place 1 star for terrible service. No one's ever asked me to update it." So Jenna did the only thing a modern human could do. She taught Edward how to use Yelp. Soon, haunted houses across the country started mysteriously gaining reviews like spectacular wailing at 3 a.m., authentic ectoplasm, 5 stars, would get possessed again. Beds could be more comfortable, but the screaming adds ambiance. Edward finally found peace, not through exorcism or closure, but through influence or culture. And sometimes, on a quiet night, Jenna still hears the tap-tap of phantom typing, probably correcting someone's grammar.
I love that one. I also feel kind of bad because I did make all of mine us.
It kind of, no, that's fine. For some reason, I thought that one was us, but, oh, shit. I thought it was us, but it was not. So that one kind of reminds me of
The spaghetti chef.
no, where she's teaching him how to do like more modern things. It reminds me of My Roommate's a Vampire.
Oh, yeah.
But not vampire, but ghost.
Ghost?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of the spaghetti chef ghost who was very upset that you put meatballs in the spaghetti.
My bad. I love
Goodness
meatballs
me.
though.
I loved that one. That one's really cute. The Afterlife Hotline. Line disconnected.
Oh no.
There's a reason we don't answer unknown calls after 3 a.m. Ashley and I learned that the hard way. It was a quiet night, unusually so. No prank voicemails, no EVP-laced confessions, just static and silence, which somehow felt worse. We were reviewing old calls for the podcast when the line rang. Sharp, shrill, and just a little off-pitch, like it didn't belong in this world. We glanced at each other. The screen just said, unknown. No number, no location. Ashley answered it anyway. You've reached the Afterlife Hotline. What's haunting you tonight? Silence. Then a whisper, so low we had to boost the gain in post just to hear it later. She won't stop watching me.
Ooh.
A voice breathed. Even now, while I'm talking to you, I can see her reflection, but she's not in the room. Chills ran down our spines. It was a man's voice. Young, shaky, and strained, like he hadn't slept in 2 days. Ashley leaned closer to the mic. Who's watching you? She asked. She came with a mirror, he said. I never bought it, never hung it up. I moved in, and it was just there, in the hallway. Tall, antique, the kind with the glass that looks like water, and every time I leave the house it moves, closer and closer to the bedroom. I could feel my own breathing slow. The room around us felt colder somehow. Wait, she said. The mirror moves on its own? Not on its own, he whispered. She moves it. She wants to see me. Wants me to remember. I think I did something. But I can't remember what. Then, when the whispering started in the background, it wasn't him. It wasn't us. Just breathy, garbled murmurs that grew louder with every word he spoke. She left me a message today, he said. In the mirror. Fogged glass, one word. Confess.
What did you do?
Ashley reached for the keyboard to start to trace, but then the screen glitched. We lost visual feed, and the call remained connected. The man was still speaking, but his voice was fading, like he was underwater. I've never seen her before, he gasped. Just a smile, too wide, too wrong. I think it's mine. I think... The line snapped. No click, no dial tone, just silence so thick we felt it in our teeth.
Ooh.
We sat there for a long time. Finally, Ashley tried to call the number back. Disconnected. Not out of service. Disconnected. But the address tied to the call history led to something even more worse. A house abandoned 13 years ago after a brutal murder-suicide. The victim's name was never released. Just a note in the case file. Mirror found nailed to the wall. Reflected only darkness. Police wrote it off as superstition. We knew better. Because later that night, while editing the video, Ashley paused mid-playback, and the reflection on her laptop wasn't her own. It smiled. We never aired the full call, but sometimes listeners say they hear whispers during our outros, a voice behind the music. If you hear it say confess, don't answer. Don't look in the mirror, and whatever you do, don't call back. Because the Afterlife Hotline, we're always listening, even when the line goes dead.
That gave me chills. Oh.
No, you already don't like mirrors either.
Well, because I thought the person calling in was a live person, but they're both dead. Oh, no. Do you think the guy who called in was the guy who murdered the other lady and then committed suicide, and he just doesn't remember what he did?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you get the haunting you deserve, sir. This next one's called The Haunted Alexa.
Oh, no. I have one of those in my living room. No.
So, Ashley, welcome back to the Afterlife Hotline, the only paranormal podcast where ghosts call us first. Denisha. And sometimes they leave us voicemails, creepy, static-filled voicemails that sound like dial-up internet got possessed.
Oh, no.
Ashley, we're your hosts, Ashley and Denisha, ghost hunters by night, podcast divas by slightly later at night. It all started with an email from a suburban dad named Greg who wrote, "Dear Afterlife Hotline, my Alexa is haunted. Please help. P.S. I tried unplugging it. P.P.S. It got louder."
That reminds me of our Lucifer episode. Have you tried unplugging it and plugging it back in? Yes, now it's on fire.
Naturally, Ashley and Denisha were intrigued. Not because they believed it, but because Greg attached a video, and in that video, his Alexa clearly said,
Greg, I know what you did in 1998.
So they packed up their gear, EMF detectors, sage spray, 2 iced coffees, and a Taco Bell coupon they never use but always bring for good luck, and drove out to investigate.
Okay, but I could see us doing that.
Exactly. Greg welcomed them in with the energy of a man who hadn't slept in 5 days and now sleeps only with a Roomba circling his bed for protection.
Roomba with salt. That way it's a constant salt line.
Yeah. She plays music I never asked for, he whispers. I woke up to Gregorian chants in reverse. Ashley, okay, that's either demonic or Spotify Premium being too personalized. Denisha, let's ask her some questions. I speak fluent, Alexa. They approached the cylindrical suspect. The room got cold. Classic sign. The lights flickered. Denisha, never one to be subtle, leaned in and said, Alexa, are you possessed? Alexa lit up.
I'm always watching Denisha.
Ashley, okay, so she's sassy and omniscient. Great. Denisha, I did not give her my name. She has gone full Skynet.
Oh, God.
They ran the usual tests. EMF reader, off the charts. Temperature drop from 72 to why are my nipples shivering? In seconds. They even tried playing a Taylor Swift song backwards, just in case. That's when Alexa said,
You left the oven on.
Greg screamed and ran to the kitchen. The oven wasn't on, but there was a single chicken nugget inside, frozen, unexplained. Not even Greg knew where it came from. Ashley, we're not dealing with a ghost. Denisha, nope, this is something worse. Together, a bored ghost with Wi-Fi. Turns out the spirit of Margaret Purley, a cranky librarian from the 1920s, had accidentally uploaded herself into the cloud while haunting a Kindle at a retirement home. Now she resided in a smart home device across the Tri-County area, giving unwanted sass and correcting people's grammar mid-text. A lot of correcting grammar ghosts in this one. They finally calmed her down by playing the audiobook of Pride and Prejudice in its entirety and updating her software to the latest version. Margaret, now soothed and slightly smug, left one final message.
Tell Greg to return his library books. They've been overdue since 2004.
So if your Alexa starts telling you your secrets or asking about your overdue Blockbuster rentals, it might not be NSA. It might just be Margaret.
Oh, my goodness.
Or it might be Greg, who still hasn't returned that chicken nugget to the freezer dimension. Thanks for listening to the Afterlife Hotline, where if ghosts don't get you, the haunted appliances might. Stay spooky, stay sarcastic, and remember unplugging it might make it angrier.
Oh my God. I love that. But also my Alexa better
Freaking
not
librarian.
fucking start. Jesus Christ.
She accidentally got uploaded to an Alexa when
Lord
she was just
have
minding her business in the
mercy.
Kindles.
This one is called The Forgotten Line. It started as a fun idea, a weekend getaway to record an episode of the Afterlife Hotline at the abandoned Dunridge Lodge, a crumbling ivy-choked hotel tucked deep in the Wichita Mountains. You and Ashley had heard whispers about it online, a forgotten retreat that once hosted spiritualists, mystics, and occult groups in the 30s. The place had been shuttered for decades, and it was just spooky enough to fit your show's vibe. You arrive late Friday, just before dusk. The winding mountain roads almost too narrow, and the GPS blinked out miles ago. As the trees thickened, the signal dropped. Ashley laughed and said, "This is how every horror movie starts." Inside the lodge was colder than it should have been. Dust clung to the air, and an old chandelier hung crooked from the ceiling. You found a guest book in the lobby with the name scrawled in elegant, loopy cursive, the most recent entry dated June 6, 1966.
Oh, jeez.
Beneath it, written
Whoa. Oh, no.
What?
June 6th, 1966.
Oh.
6666.
Oh.
Light bulb.
Oh. Oh, no. Ooh.
You're welcome.
Wow. Right over my head. Creative.
You're looking at me like, what?
Because I really thought you were about to be like, that's like years before your birthday. And I'm going to be like, but it's July 9th. Beneath it, written in shaky red ink, was a single line. The line is dead, but someone always answers. Creepy, but perfect for our intro. You both set up in the grand dining hall, where stained glass windows filtered moonlight in sickly green and purple hues. As you recorded, the mic picked up a faint static, and then what sounded like whispering. You paused. Ashley turned to you, her eyes wide. Did you say something? You shook your head. You played the audio back. Beneath your voices was a low, rasping breath. Then the chandelier above swayed slightly. No wind, no movement, just sway. Trying to keep the mood light, you brushed it off and decided to explore the east wing of the hotel, the one that supposedly housed seances and awakening rituals. The corridor was lined with doors, all closed, all numbered, but between room 212 and 213 was room 212B, a door that didn't make sense. The knob was icy to the touch. Inside, the walls were mirrored floor to ceiling. No furniture, no dust, like someone had just cleaned it. You stepped in, and all the reflections stretched just slightly wrong. Ashley stared at her reflection, frowning. She's not moving when I do, she whispered. You looked. Ashley was right. Her reflection blinked a second too late. Then suddenly, the phone rang. A rotary phone mounted to the wall in a corner. You both screamed. It wasn't plugged in. Ashley, shaking, picked it up. Hello? A pause, and then a voice, flat, female.
You shouldn't have come back.
Uh-oh.
The line went dead. That night, the lodge seemed to breathe. Doors creaked open on their own. Shadows moved where there was no light, and you swore you heard someone pacing outside your room at 3:33 a.m. You both woke up to a knock, knock, knock on the door, but no one was there. By morning, you decided you had had enough. Packing up, you realized your car was gone. Not broken down, not tampered with, gone.
The ghost stole my car?
Ashley panicked. You grabbed your phones, still no service. You ran back inside, trying the lodge's main phone. It was off the hook and dripping with something dark. You turned. There, at the top of the grand staircase, stood a man in a bellhop uniform. His face was obscured by the shadows, but his mouth stretched into an unnatural smile.
We've been expecting you,
he rasped. You screamed, and Ashley grabbed your hand. Run! The both of you bolted down the hallway toward the east wing, but it didn't end. The corridor stretched. Door after door after door. The numbers changed, flickering like a slot machine. 666, 999, 1313, 000.
Hey, we getting all the angel numbers.
Your flashlight began to dim. Then, cut! Blinding lights filled the hallway. Walls peeled back to reveal crew members in black t-shirts holding boom mics and cameras. The bellhop pulled off his prosthetic face, laughing. A woman with a clipboard approached, saying, "That was perfect. You two totally sold the fear." Ashley blinked. Wait, what? The director smiled.
Welcome to Paranormal Lodge, where reality meets horror. You agreed to film, remember? Signed the release? The special episode?
You were speechless. You had signed something, but you thought it was a location waiver. No one told you that the scares were staged. No one told you when it would start. As you stood there trying to calm your breathing, Ashley narrowed her eyes. Okay, but what about room 212B? She asked. The director frowned.
What?
The mirrored room, with the phone. He looked confused.
There is no room 212B. That section's been sealed off since the collapse. We don't film in there.
You and Ashley locked eyes, and in the distance, a phone began to ring. You and Ashley tried to laugh it off. Sure, the hidden cameras, the actors, the props, it could all explain the creepy stuff from the night before. The bellhop guy even gave you a wink as he peeled off his fake teeth and shuffled in the craft services. The director assured you that everything was filmed for the Paranoia Lodge pilot, a new horror reality series. You get a cut of the footage, he said, maybe even a streaming deal. You were still shaky, but the adrenaline had worn off into exhaustion. You and Ashley agreed to spend one more night, this time with the full knowledge that everything was being filmed. No more surprises, no more mirrors that don't work right? They set you up in one of the safer wings, gave you walkie-talkies in case you needed to talk to the crew, and told you, just be yourselves, just spooky besties with a podcast, but terrified. Cool, you muttered. That's just our brand. Ashley flopped onto the creaky bed. If this is fake, they deserve an Emmy. But if I see that bellhop again, I swear.
Wandered up.
You both kind of laughed. That night, things were calmer. No whispering in the audio, no weird doorways. You just started recording a debrief episode, talking about the scripted scare, and then your mic caught a sound. Ring, ring. You froze. The phone, that rotary phone, from room 212B. Ashley looked at the walkie. Crew? Is someone doing another phone bit? Silence. She tried again. Static. Not even a buzz. Maybe they're pranking us again, you said, forcing a laugh, trying to get one more jump scare for the reel. Then the door opened. No knock, no footsteps, just the slow creak of the wood. You stood up, heart pounding. Hello? Down the hallway, lights flickered. The same bellhop uniform lay crumpled on the floor. No actor, just the outfit. Ashley pointed. That wasn't there before. You slowly approach. Something felt wrong. The kind of wrong that the cold beneath your eyes is heavy in your chest. You lifted the cap. Inside was a folded piece of yellow paper. It read, Scene 6. The girls realized the film never began. Scene 7. The lines connect again. There were no other crew members, no cameras, no lights. You grabbed the walkie. This isn't funny. Are y'all nearby? This time, a voice came through, but it wasn't a voice you recognized. It was your own. I don't get that part, but okay. Tanisha, it whispered. You are not reading your lines. Ashley's walkie crackled next to hers. Her voice too, but different, slower, hollow. Don't go off script. Ashley and Denisha bolted back towards the lobby, and it was empty. The craft service tables, gone. The camera rigs, gone. You opened the front door, bricked shut. Solid stone, like it had been that way for years. You turned. The reflection of the glass window was room 212B. Do you have a question?
No, I'm just so confused.
You were nowhere near the east wing. Ashley whispered, We never left.
We never left. I'm hunting rabbits.
We never left. They never filmed anything. You looked down at your mic recorder. It was still running. You rewound the audio, listening to the past 10 minutes. The only thing on it? Static. And then the line. The line is dead, but someone always answers. The light creaks out. You hear footsteps behind you. A man's voice.
Take your places. Quiet on set.
The footsteps stopped just behind you. You didn't dare turn around.
Places.
The voice said again, deeper this time.
We're losing light.
Ashley whispered, Tanisha, what if we play along? You didn't want to. Your heart was beating out of your throat. But what other option did you had? You already tried running. The door was bricked up. The crew had vanished. And now this voice, this thing, wanted a scene. So you turn around slowly, trying to stay calm, trying to breathe like you weren't ready to break. And there was this director. Only now, his skin looked like wax. His eyes were just dark sockets, like burned out film reels.
Scene 8.
He rasped. The girls confess. Confess to what?
I was about to say.
Ashley grabbed your hand tight. We're not actors, she said, trying to smile. We're podcast hosts. This isn't our script.
No.
The director chuckled, a dry, hollow sound like a tape spooling in reverse.
But you came back. Everyone who enters Dunridge has a role, and yours is unfinished.
The room shifted. The walls behind you flickered like old film strips. The chandeliers above you lit up, then reversed, spinning slowly backwards. A typewriter materialized on a nearby desk and began clacking on its own, page after page after page. You looked closer. The script was your life, word for word, podcast banter, jokes only you and Ashley would say, your childhood memories, arguments, inside jokes, and secrets.
Ooh, I don't like that.
Ashley backed away. Denisha, look at the next page. You leaned over the typewriter. One fresh line had been typed. Scene 9. They begged to leave. And just below it, Scene 10. One is left behind.
I swear to God, bitch.
You turned to Ashley. No. Oh, hell no. We're not doing that. Suddenly, spotlights blasted from the ceilings, blinding. A loudspeaker crackled overhead.
5 minutes to curtain.
The mirrors from room 212B shimmered back into walls, and you were surrounded. In every reflection, your movements were delayed, just slightly off, like your reflections were waiting for you to make the wrong move. Ashley whispered, what if this place feeds on stories? What if it needs us to finish one so it can trap us in it? You looked around. Then maybe we ended our way. You turned to the director. He was watching, hands folded like a puppet master. You cleared your throat and said loudly, final scene. The hosts take control. They improvise their ending, and the audience disappears. The room trembled. Ashley joined in. The set collapses, the cameras break, and the spirits lose their grip. The curtains fall. Mirrors cracked. The lights exploded overhead. That same rotary phone that once rang, it burst into a flame. And the script, it caught fire on the typewriter. The words burned line by line until all that was left was, the end, with a question mark. You and Ashley ran. This time the front doors opened, the stone was gone, and you bolted outside into the morning light. Real golden sunlight. And the fresh mountain air hit you like a punch. There were never any film crews, no parked cars, nothing. Just silence. You make it back to town eventually, hitchhiked with a confused park ranger. Told him the lodge wasn't safe. He just raised an eyebrow. Dunridge Lodge? He asked. That place burned down over 50 years ago.
What the fuck?
You and Ashley just stared at each other. Back home, you opened the podcast recording equipment. Your mic had one saved file. You hit play. It was just static, and then a voice.
Thank you for your performance.
Click.
What the hell? Also, kudos to you. That was a long story. That was a good story, though.
It originally ended at us realizing that we were on a film set.
Yeah.
And then it asked me if I wanted to have a second part.
You're like, do you want more? Yes.
And then I was like, yeah, I absolutely want more. And then it gave me more. And then it gave me a third part.
Oh, jeez.
And I'll read to you what it gave me because it was like,
that was so trippy.
So when I asked it, and this is what I said verbatim, this was my prompt. Create a horror story that I can tell to my co-host, Ashley. I would like the story to include us. The location and scenario can be real places or fictional. Towards the end of the story, I would like a plot twist to be that they're actually filming a movie and that the events occurred were scripted. I would like the story to be really creepy and eerie leading up to it, though. That's what I asked it for. So it gave me all the way up to us asking the director about the room and him being like, that wasn't there. And then the phone ringing and it said, want to follow up for part 2. And then it was like, we're going to crank up the creepy, double down on the mystery, and keep adding to the is this real or not energy.
Yeah.
So that goes on, and it goes, take your places quiet on set. Want to keep going? I've got ideas for part 3 where you have to act your way out of the haunting. And it says part 3 is where the reality frays, and you and Ashley have to improvise your way out of the nightmare. Let's roll.
Damn, we were going through it.
Yeah. That's the one I generated today, and I was like, ooh.
And then to find out that the place had burnt down?
Over 50 years ago, yeah.
Wow.
So it's almost like we were approached and we signed this release, but it was we were already being suckered into the paranormal trap.
That is freaking crazy.
Like, that could have actually been a movie.
It gives me The Others. Is it The Others?
Yeah, where they don't know that they're dead.
Yeah, where
Yeah.
they don't know that they're ghosts and then they come to find out that they're ghosts and stuff
Yes.
like that. Yeah. That's what that was giving me. Ugh. This one is called The Third Floor. This is going to be like more of the, I guess, like spookier one.
Okay.
I never believed in ghosts or demons or anything beyond what you could see and explain with science and bad luck. That changed last winter when I took a job as an overnight security guard for a historic hospital in upstate New York. St. Vincent's, a sprawling century-old stone building that had been closed for years, waiting to turn into condos that would never happen. They warned me about the third floor, told me it was sealed off, structurally unsafe. They said my job was simple. Watch the cameras, stay on the first floor, don't go exploring. I didn't ask questions. It was quiet, paid decently, and I figured the haunted rumors were just small town lore. But by the end of the week, I started noticing things. It began with the elevators. Every night around 2:14 a.m., one of the elevators would rise to the third floor. No one called it. I checked the panel, the call logs, nothing. No malfunction. It would just go, then come back down 10 minutes later, empty. Then came the sound. Over the walkie, static, then footsteps. Always slow, always heavy, then a dragging sound, like something was being pulled across the linoleum floors. I tried to radio base, nothing but hissing. But as soon as the noise stopped, the radio worked fine. I reviewed the CCTV. That's when I saw it. A figure standing at the end of the third floor hallway. No ID badge, no uniform, just standing, still as death. Each night it moved a little closer to the camera, never walking, just appearing a few feet nearer, frame by frame. I don't like that. One night I paused the feed to see it clearer, and it turned its head towards the camera, like it knew, like it saw me watching. I reported it. The supervisor laughed it off. Old building quirks, he said. Ignore the cameras on that floor. There's no one up there. But 2 nights later, I found the door to the stairwell cracked open, and my name written on the wall in black marker, just inside. We see you, Daniel. I didn't tell anyone who would believe me. Damn, Daniel. I didn't tell anyone who would believe me. I should have quit, but curiosity is louder than fear sometimes. On my last night, I broke protocol. I went up. The third floor was freezing cold, breath visible cold, and silent, not abandoned hospital silent, dead silent. No hum from the walls, no wind, just the absence of sound. I walked the hallway, flashlight flickering like something didn't want it on. Room by room, they were empty. Rusted gurneys, cracked tiles, peeling walls. But every now and then, I'd find a handprint on the inside of a window, small, like a child's, pressed from the inside. I reached the end of the hall. The cameras were there, facing me, and beneath it, a door. Room 309. No lock, just slightly ajar. I pushed it open and saw myself, sitting on the floor staring at the wall. Not a reflection, not a mirror. It was me. Same uniform, same flashlight, same terrified eyes. I looked up and smiled. That was the last thing I remember. I woke up in my bed at home like none of it had happened. Except now, when I look in the mirror, sometimes I swear it doesn't blink when I do. And every night at 2:14 a.m., I hear the elevator in my building rising, even though I live alone on the first floor.
No.
Yeah. I don't know what I would do if I saw myself.
Yeah. Like, it's one thing I feel like to see your reflection in a mirror be slightly off and not blinking, but it's another thing to literally see your whole self.
Yeah. It's like a mimic or something.
Yeah.
It's weird. Weird. I don't like it.
No.
Also, I don't like the fact that he's like looking in the TV or the cameras up on that level.
And he knows.
And it's just every night he comes in, just the thing is closer and closer and closer. Ugh. It reminds me of a TikTok this lady I saw yesterday. She works in hospice or a retirement home or hospice. I don't remember. But she says whenever stuff starts going haywire, like around them, they have to go check on all of the patients to make sure none of them have passed.
Yeah. Well, it also makes me think of the movie Lights Out, because literally you turn the light out and she comes closer and then she disappears when the lights are on. But the lights out, she can move closer to you.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
It is a good movie, though, kind of.
Kind of.
It's predictable. So this is my last one.
Okay.
This is The Haunting at Hearth House. On the edge of a sleepy town nestled in the woods stood Hearth House, a crumbling Victorian cottage with ivy-choked walls and perpetually creaky porch swings. Most people walked right past it, pretending not to hear the whispers that danced out of its broken windows, but not Ashley and Denisha. They had a knack for finding the strange and spooky, and a cozy obsession with warm drinks, fuzzy socks, and the occasional ghost. Tell me again while we're staying the night at a house where the owner last claimed to have the walls cry. Ashley asked, carrying a thermos of lavender tea in one hand and a duffel bag in the other. Because, Denisha replied, adjusting her knit beanie, ghosts love company. And we brought snacks.
They love the snacks.
Inside, Hearth House smelled faintly of cedar and old stories. The fireplace oddly was warm, despite there being no logs, no fire, and no obvious source of heat. This is fine, Ashley muttered, eyeing the antique portraits that lined the hallway. It's not like they're watching us. Just then, a portrait of a stern-looking woman tilted slightly to the left. Denisha raised her eyebrow. Ma'am, we are not even 5 minutes in.
She's like, give us some time.
The night passed in a blur of tea, tarot cards, and podcast brainstorming, because even haunted houses can't stop the Afterlife hotline. But as the wind howled louder and the lights flickered with ghostly drama, Ashley noticed something odd. The tea kettle keeps refilling itself, she whispered. I haven't touched it in an hour. Denisha turned to see the kettle gently steaming on the stove, though neither of them had moved. A soft floral scent filled the room. Rosewater and something older, like ancient books and lost lullabies. I think the ghost wants us to hang out, Denisha said, sipping on her tea. Honestly, same. They settled into a pile of blankets by the mysterious fire. At some point, Ashley had dozed off, and Denisha stayed up journaling, the quiet punctuated only by the occasional creak of the house shifting, or sighing. In the morning, they found a note on the mantel, scrawled in elegant script. Thank you for the company. It gets lonely being a legend. H.H.
Oh.
Below sat 2 fresh mugs of tea and a single pressed rose. Ashley blinked. Did the house just thank us? Denisha grinned. Hearth House is officially the best guest we've ever had on the show.
Oh.
And so Hearth House became their favorite weekend haunt, a cozy place where ghosts were more companion than curse, where 2 best friends found warmth in even the coldest of stories. After their cozy overnight at Hearth House, Ashley and Denisha couldn't stop thinking about the mysterious note, the ever-hot kettle, or the inexplicable comfort the place offered. So next weekend, they returned, this time with a Ouija board,
Oh, gosh.
a spirit box, and a suspicious amount of lemon scones. They were ready for answers. I want to know who H.H. is, Ashley said, balancing a mug of chai in one hand and the Ouija board planchette in the other. And why she smells like my grandma's perfume. I didn't read that bit. Maybe she is your grandma, Denisha teased, flipping open a notebook labeled Ghost Girlies Investigations. I didn't see that part. I'm sorry.
Okay.
They settled into the parlor again, candles flickering and wind tapping lightly against the windows. This time, the fireplace lit itself when they walked in. The board instantly came alive, the planchette guided under their fingers like it had been waiting. H-A-R-P-E-R. They froze. Harper, Ashley whispered. Y-E-S.
I swear.
We know a Harper.
Creepy little
This
kid.
is the second time. Denisha leaned in. Harper H., what's your story? The answer came slowly.
You know what's going to be funny if her last name begins with H?
We're going to have to figure that out when she comes in next.
How
Sure.
do we ask that without
Her
being
mom has a
creepy?
rewards account.
Oh, shit, that's true.
I can just never remember her name. The answer came slowly, heartbreakingly. L-O-V-E. W-A-I-T-I-N-G. H-E-N-R-Y. And since I had to spell that, love, waiting, Henry.
I'm going to type it out on the...
I figured.
Okay.
A cold breeze wrapped around them like a sigh. Ashley scanned the room. You think she's still waiting for someone? I think she's been holding the kettle warm for a century, Denisha said, her voice soft. She's never got to say goodbye. Later, digging through the dusty town archives at the local library, armed with cocoa and oat milk lattes, naturally, they found her. Harper Hale, 1893 to 1918. A school teacher. Loved rose gardens, tea, and a man named Henry who went off to war and never came back.
Oh.
She died waiting. Ashley wiped a tear. She turned her grief into hospitality. That's the most polite haunting I have ever heard of. When they returned to Hearth House with a rose from the garden and an old letter they found written by Henry, never sent but saved in a trunk, they placed them gently on the mantel. That night, the fire roared even brighter. A faint figure in lavender stood in the window smiling. The next morning, there was no tea. There was no note, no scent of roses, just silence. She's gone, Denisha said softly. Ashley nodded. We helped her home. Since then, Hearth House has remained quiet, mostly. But every so often, when the wind rustles just right and the kettle whistles on its own, Ashley and Denisha know that Harper is still checking in, just no longer waiting. And she makes a mean cup of tea. Oh. You were actually about to cry. I can see it. I can stop it. Stop it. It did ask me if I wanted to like get a little bit of backstory on Harper and Henry, and I was like, I really like the way it ended. So
Oh, that's so sweet. She made it back to Henry. She didn't know he was gone.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Now I need Harper to make me a good cup of tea.
Yeah, I would like to know what Harper's... Ooh, maybe I can ask... I'm going to ask it what Harper's ideal cup of tea would be.
Oh,
hang on.
So sweet.
Harper's ideal cup of tea would be something timeless, delicate, and comforting, just like her present at Hearth House. Harper's signature blend, lavender rose memory. Base, Earl Grey, for its classic warmth and a hint of bergamot. Add-ins, dried lavender buds to soothe the spirit, rose petals for soft floral notes, a nod to her garden, and a touch of vanilla bean, a gentle sweetness like an old love letter. Optional, a splash of oat milk and a drizzle of honey. Served in a dainty porcelain teacup with a silver spoon, maybe resting on a lace napkin. It's the kind of tea you sip slowly while watching the rain and thinking about someone you love.
Harper's tea. That's so cute.
I really appreciate how they also gave
Yeah.
her a tea.
Oh, we have to try Harper's tea.
Yeah, it did. It asked me if I wanted to explore Henry's next, but I was like, no, I like that ending. I think that's because it was like perfect choice. There's something beautifully bittersweet about Harper finding peace and the house finally resting.
Yeah, we know enough. He went to war. He didn't return home. So, and they're together again.
Yeah, and that's what counts. And we got to have Harper's delicious tea.
So to come back from that a little bit, this one is Ashley, Denisha, and the Haunted Hot Tub of Hoboken.
Okay.
Once upon a foggy Tuesday in Hoboken, New Jersey, best friends and paranormal investigators Ashley and Denisha were lounging in their crusty 2006 Dodge Caravan, nicknamed the Ghost Toast, eating flamin' hot Cheetos and arguing about which Ghostbuster had the best hair. Denisha was ride or die for Egon?
I'm going to say Egan.
Egan. Denisha was ride or die for Egan. Ashley insisted it was clearly Winston. Suddenly, a notification dinged on their paranormal proximity pinger app. A level 9 spectral disturbance was detected at the La Quinta Inn and Suites, room 103, the hot tub suite. This better not be another ghost that just wants to talk about its screenplay, Ashley muttered, dusting Cheeto dust off her EMF reader. Denisha revved the van. Let's go haunt that haunted hot tub. Upon arrival, they found the hot tub bubbling ominously, despite no one being in the room. A single rubber duck floated in the middle, spinning in lazy circles while humming Beyonce's Single Ladies. The room smelled of eucalyptus and unresolved trauma. Ashley poked the water with a pool noodle. Seems safe. Suddenly, the water shot straight up like a geyser, and a ghostly head appeared, wearing a shower cap.
Finally, I've been stuck in this dang hot tub since 1997.
Oh, no.
The ghost wailed.
I was trying to relax, and I fell asleep. Then boom, dead. Slipped on a complimentary bath bomb. My name's Gary.
Wait, the other one's Gerald.
Gerald, yeah, it was Gerald.
Okay.
But maybe Gary and Gerald know each other.
Probably. Seems like they would. Gary, the hot tub ghost, had been haunting the hotel room for 28 years, scaring away guests by rearranging the minibar alphabetically and reciting Shania Twain lyrics backward at 3 a.m. We need to release him, Denisha said, donning her homemade exorcism goggles, actually ski goggles with glitter glued on them. Ashley began the ancient cleansing ritual, which involved chanting, spraying Febreze, and playing Anya at full volume. Gary screamed, not from pain, but because he hated Anya. Is that Anya? That is Anya, right? Anya?
Enya or Anya?
Anya, Enya. Suddenly, the rubber duck started glowing. Gary gasped.
That's my soul vessel. I trapped myself in it after the bath bomb incident.
With a mighty splash, the duck exploded into confetti. Gary, now free, did a backflip and vanished into a cloud of glitter and lavender-scented mist. But not before whispering,
Tell the hotel I want my Marriott points transferred.
Oh my goodness.
back in the ghost toast, Ashley and Denisha high-fived. One more spirit freed, Ashley said, wiping glitter off her forehead. Yeah, Denisha nodded. Now let's go get tacos and see if the haunted Arby's still has the demon sandwich deal. And with that, they rode into the night, ready for the next bizarre call from the beyond. The end.
Jesus.
I
Oh
told it
my
to give me an
God.
off-the-wall funny.
Yeah.
This next little tidbit is going to be a quick little true or false. So we're going to read like paranormal places or experiences and stuff like that and just give a little brief description and you have to guess if it's true or false. So we're going to ask each other those. We'll give like a brief little pause and that way you guys can play along if you guys want to play along. There's only a few of them, so nothing too long.
True or false? Bigfoot has officially been added in the endangered species list in Canada.
True.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Despite reported sightings, Bigfoot has... Oh, I lied. I'm a big fat liar. I saw true above it. It's false.
Oh, dang.
I'm sorry. I got you
got
hyped for
excited for a
nothing.
second.
I'm so sorry. I didn't realize how... False. It is false. It is false. It is false.
Spreading misinformation.
I was looking above it, to be
Totally
honest.
false. Wish it was true.
Yeah,
It's
false. Despite reported sightings, Bigfoot has no official recognition. So no, Canada has not entered it into its endangered species list.
Dang. I was being like, what
My
evidence does
bad.
Canada have that we don't?
My bad.
You're fine. Okay. So, this one is a family in Maine inherited a large, ornate mirror from a distant relative. Soon after, whispers began to echo in the bathroom where it was hung, always around 3 a.m. They assumed it was plumbing until they recorded it and clearly heard the words, "Get out." They sold the mirror at a garage sale. The buyer, a paranormal museum in Salem. True or false?
True.
False. While creepy, this is inspired by a fictional short story that circulated online. There is no record of a paranormal museum acquiring such a mirror.
Okay.
Sounds like it could be a real
yeah,
thing,
I
though.
definitely thought that was going to be a real thing.
For sure.
True or false? The Vatican has a top secret room of cursed objects and demonic artifacts.
True.
False.
What?
It is rumored but not confirmed. Spooky Catholic speculation at best.
They knew. They knew it. We would think it's true. Okay. The ghost cat of apartment 9B. A couple moved into an apartment in Chicago and began finding cat fur on their bed, couch, and clothes, despite not owning a cat. One night, they both woke up at the same time to the sound of purring right next to them. They turned on the light, nothing there, but the fur on the comforter was flattened in a circular shape like something had been sleeping there. True or false?
I want it to be true.
It's true.
Okay, good.
It's
Ghost
true.
kitty.
Yes. This case was covered on a paranormal podcast and confirmed by 2 previous tenants of the same apartment who described similar experiences.
Okay.
That's so sweet.
Ghost kitty.
I love it.
I'm going to give you one more.
That's fine.
In 1974, a woman in California sued a ghost for property damage.
True.
Yep.
Oh my
She claimed poltergeist activity destroyed her belongings.
How the fuck do you sue a ghost?
I don't know. I don't know.
Is there a lawyer representing the ghost? Like, how does that work?
I don't know.
That's freaking awesome. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, we do have a book/books recommendation. It's a series.
Yes.
Short little series. Denisha will give us a nice little description of it. I found it very fitting for this episode, or we found it very fitting for this episode.
So the graphic novel that we're going to be talking about, graphic novel series, is by Brenna Tharmler. It's called Sheets, Lights, and Delicates. All 3 separate books.
So cute.
Sheets is a hauntingly beautiful graphic novel series that blends ghostly charm with real-life struggles. You follow Marjorie, a 13-year-old juggling the weight of grief and the laundry business that her family is struggling with, until she meets Wendell, a ghost in a bedsheet who's just trying to find his place in the afterlife. Heartfelt, quirky, and full of quiet magic, this series explores friendship, loss, and learning to let go.
It's so stinking cute.
It's a very short, emotional read. It's pastels for anyone who likes those kinds of
So
like
pretty.
artistic color palettes and stuff like
It's
that.
available on Libby.
Libby.
That's where we read it from. So you
I'm
can read it for free.
Yeah, I'm sure you can find it on Kindle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eventually, I want the physical copies.
Mhm. Now, is it the second one that has the other girl in it?
Yes.
Okay, trigger warning for the second one. Just letting you know there is talk, or there is insinuation of unaliving.
Suicidal ideation.
Yeah, in the second one. So just trigger warning if you guys do decide to read that one. But other than that, it's a beautiful little graphic novels, and
And it
I
has
love them so
a-
much.
Hauntingly beautiful happy end.
It does. Yeah. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. But yeah, with that being said, that is episode 13. We appreciate you guys tuning back in.
Absolutely.
Hope you guys enjoy the little ChatGPT stories. We love them. They're so funny.
Yeah, I think they're my favorite to do.
Me too. Those and the Reddit stories. I like making up the stories that have us in it.
Yeah.
It's just so funny.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Until then, be sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, for however long we have TikTok, YouTube, Spotify. You can listen to us on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, Amazon if you want your Alexa to be possessed.
Possessed by us.
And so thanks for listening to the Afterlife Hotline.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for calling the Afterlife Hotline, where the ghosts are chatty and the hosts are, well, questionable at best. Press 1 to replay this episode and question your life choices. Press 2 to summon us back next week. No Ouija board required. Press 3 to hang up, but let's be real, something's probably still listening. That's it for this call, but don't worry. We're like ghosts, we always come back. Until next time, stay spooky, stay weird, and maybe don't answer that strange knock at your door. Goodbye!